Hey everybody, Michael from Pigeon Hill, joining you once again on a Tuesday for Tuesdays with Michael. Thanks everybody that's signed on so far. Just like last week, I still literally have no idea what I am doing, so please bear with me. We're winging all of this, and we just hope to keep improving every week. I did get a couple of questions about the sunglasses, so I'm just going to put that up there and keep talking. Each week we're bringing in new guests, people who are doing great things here in Muskegon, and our goal is to give them a chance to talk about their why. You know, why Muskegon, why the path that they chose, why is what they do special, cool, important to the community. Every week's going to vary. Some weeks we'll have food. This week is politics to some extent. Then festivals, marketing. We'll have drunk marketing in a few weeks, and beyond. We have rough outlines of everything we're going to talk about. But at the end of the day, the goal is to keep this very free form. Questions are encouraged. In fact, we reward them with gift cards. I'll talk about that in a second. We are also going to drink beer because Pigeon Hill keeps the lights on and pays for the computer I'm using to do this. So that's my sales pitch. Every Tuesday night, I get to come to my office and drink beer. And I hope you'll do the same. On that note, I do need to make mention of the fact that the Brewers Lounge at our production facility is now open for indoor-outdoor service and curbside pickup. Our hours for this week are right below. I'm not going to talk about that too much more because I want to mention a different brewery, Rake Beer Project. Last year, I gave away a couple of last week, I gave a couple of gift cards away, and this week we're going to do exactly the same, except they're going to go to our friends, the newer kid on the block, Rake Beer Project. One gift card is going to be given away to whomever answers or asks Michael's favorite question tonight. And even if it's not shown on the screen or answered, he's going to have a chance to go through the questions afterwards and just pick his favorite one. You'll be notified tomorrow. Unfortunately, you can't get the gift card until Thursday because Rake is closed today, and I forgot to get it over the weekend. The other will be given away to the first person to correctly answer a random trivia question that I come up with near the end of the show. So good luck to all of you who ask questions and try and answer trivia questions to win that those Rake Beer Project gift cards. Now, we're going to welcome our special guest, Michael Ramsey, in just a second. Unlike last week's guest, Michael and I don't actually have a long-standing relationship or friendship yet. By the end of the show, my goal is to remedy that problem. In the meantime, I'm pretty pumped to talk to him tonight and learn more about him. He's currently a Muskegon City Commissioner in Ward 3, Director of the Community Health Innovation Region, and the Director of Homeless Services at Community enCompass. So let's learn a little bit more about Michael. Oh, I'm sorry. I caught you off guard.
No, we are always ready.
I had this banner ready to go.
Ready.
Michael, let's start with something that I have queued up. I pulled this from your Facebook page. Hope you don't mind. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, that's me.
So you're simultaneously the nicest and meanest person. I thought this was going to hit you.
Everything that I'm sharing with you is because I am nice, and it may be mean, but it is the truth. I mean,
fair.
The end result is to make you a better person, and I'm just the person to help with that. Jesus. And I'm bossy. I'm aggressively helpful.
Completely fair.
Yeah.
So in all seriousness, tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, where are you from? We'll start there. That's the easy one.
Yeah, really, really. Well, thanks for having me tonight, Michael, and thanks to everyone who's here or who should be here and who's not. My name is Michael Ramsey. I have lived in Muskegon since 2004. I born and raised in California, the Bay Area. Very, very lucky to have done that because if I had to be there now, I'd live under the Golden Gate Bridge. But moved to the Midwest just after college, lived in Omaha, Nebraska for 5 years, and then made my way to Michigan just to kind of check things out. And here we are 16, 17 years later. The rest is history. That's what they say.
Did you start in Muskegon or did you start somewhere else in Michigan?
Well, Grand Haven, but...
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, I had
to our Grand Haven viewers, I'm sorry I said that.
I had a great time there. There's not much to do. They do roll up the sidewalks, but I stayed right there on the water at the piano factory. condos. And so I would just waddle over to the bars right there at the end of Washington and then roll on home after that. It was perfect.
No, completely fair. So you came to Muskegon, how many years ago was it?
Let's say 16.
16 years ago, you show up in Muskegon, and what was life? What did you do?
So I worked in a bar. I ran a local bar for about 10 years and just kind of jumped into it. At one point, I was really ready. I had sort of missed city life, and I had worked in Chicago when I lived in Omaha. Chicago was one of my remote offices, and so I was very familiar with Chicago. And I wanted to be back in the thick of it. I really missed that whole city life, the hustle and bustle. And I was getting ready to go back to Chicago to do some work and to live and, free to be you and me. And I presented that to my partner and I was like, we'll see you on weekends unless you want to come to Chicago. And he was like, no, everything I have is here. And so I said, okay, well then if we're going to stay, we've got to be a part of what's happening. I want to feel connected to this community. So immediately we bought a house. I took a job with Mercy Health. I started volunteering as much as I possibly could, being a part of my community, my neighborhood, getting to know the people that lived around me, making friends, joining Jaycees, things like that. And then everything just kind of felt like the next step. And here we are.
ATI, there we go. I randomly pick pictures off of people's Facebook pages and just try and have them ready to go. So
those are my people. Those are my people, and they're all half my age. That's the funny thing, Michael. Everyone in that picture is half my age, but for some reason, that's a group of people who wants to get things done, and I'm proud to be a part of that.
So did the Jaycees sort of launch you into everything that's come since, or did it play a role?
I would say that Jaycees was a turning point. So I was very involved with a lot of things because I have zero boundaries, which you can tell by all the jobs that I possess. And wanted to be involved. And Jaycees was where I was really able to start to focus on what I thought was important within our community and to push that agenda, the best kind of agenda you can have. Not like the gay agenda that I have. That's very different.
Well, we can talk about that later too.
I mean, it's much a margarita. So they really helped me to sort of focus. And then meeting all of these young people who were so on fire for the community that they live in. Was inspiring because I'm 42 years old. So they're literally half my age and just doing these things and wanting to be involved and getting out there and touching people that they will never know or never realize how they've touched. And that it was just wow. And so I was able to kind of hone in what I wanted to focus on and how I wanted to look at marginalized populations and communities of color, being a man of color myself, but obviously passable. So it's never affected me. And I'm a man, so that works in my favor. And so they really helped me kind of zoom in on where I would be most effective.
Absolutely.
Passion, talent, or skill,
Yeah, absolutely. That's really a perfect segue into the community. So you kind of led from working for Mercy Health, and you still have ties to Mercy Health, correct?
Yes.
So unlike my previous guests, who are some of my best friends, as I mentioned, Michael and I are going to be best friends at the end of this. I came in woefully unprepared, somewhat intentionally. I wanted to find out how it went, and I thought he'd be fairly forgiving, although we'll see how that goes. So, that passion for community, which of your current 3 titles did it lead to first?
Wow. So it really led to my ongoing for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years title as the director of the Community Health Innovation Region, which people who know me professionally know it's the Shire. And the Shire is a state-based project that focuses on helping people where they need it most. It's something we call the social determinants or the social influencers of health. So what I did was I helped to develop a standardized assessment form that we shared with any agency, resource, organization that helps the community in Muskegon County and said, hey, ask these 10 to 12 questions. Let's figure out how we can help people while they're in your 4 walls, and let's connect them to these resources. So I did that, and then that sort of helped us to identify other areas where we're where there was a ton of attention needed. So as the hospital, as community enCompass, as just me, Michael Ramsey, I was kind of able to see where I wanted to go into. And housing, as we know, is super important because let's be honest, if you don't have a place to live, you're not worried about your meal, you're not worried about your medication, you're not worried about anything that comes after that because you don't have the capability to get past the thought of where will I sleep tonight. And so while housing first, which is a coin term that's trademarked, it's a model, isn't something I necessarily subscribe to as a method. Housing first is important because once you have housing in place, everything follows. You can't get up and go to work every morning out of the front seat of your car.
But I think so many people assume that homelessness means that you're living in a tent by the river and frankly, I think too many people assume it means you're living in a tent by the river because of your own issues. And they don't take into account the fact that there are many who are functionally homeless, who are moving from couch to couch or grandparent to grandparent. Raise my hand there. They don't have a set place to call home, and that invades all of their life. And in many cases, it's no fault of their own. Right.
And some people do want to live in a tent down by the river. Yeah, I want to live in a tent down by the river.
I am looking at camper vans.
Yeah, this is built for comfort. And so I don't get to do that. But typically, and we hear things that are so cliche, like, you're just one paycheck away. But it's true, and especially since COVID. Everyone is one tiny crisis, one minor inconvenience away from being in trouble financially. Doesn't mean that it's going to make you homeless. But 2 or 3 of those strung together or 2 or 3 bad days could do that. And I'm here to help people that have those experiences, whether it's because you're a marginalized population and suffer from poverty, or because you had a hard time at the shop last month and were sick and can't make your mortgage payment. Being able to do that and talk to people and destigmatize the need for assistance, that's what's important. And if anyone out there in whatever kind of podcast, TV, Zoom, fancy thing this is can take something away, it's that. Destigmatize the fact that people will need help. And one day it could be you. So don't be a dick to someone else.
And it's okay to ask.
Your turn, someone will be a dick to you.
Never be afraid to ask. So we're going to segue into what does Community enCompass do? I guess your facet, as well as, people hear about Community enCompass all the time in news. There are the sound bites here and there. Community enCompass did this, they did that, but I don't know that people actually know what Community enCompass does or what your program is doing at Community enCompass. P.S. My brother's in that picture. I'm just going to note that.
Yes, he is. Your brother is one of my bright shining stars. So this is a great picture, actually. This is, just to kind of narrate the picture quickly, this is a gift that we received from Twin Cities Financial, which is a new financial institution that's from wherever the Twin Cities are, Minnesota, and they've moved here into Michigan, and so they're doing a lot of great work, especially in Southeast Michigan, in the Detroit area. And they wanted to come and get involved, and they said, "Hey, how can we help?" So they helped us develop a community impact fund that are dollars to use at our discretion to help people who don't qualify either financially or demographically for the programs that we have. So they gave us $15,000, and we're like, "Hey guys, spend it to keep people safely housed." So that's totally exciting. But what we do at enCompass is so many different things. We have these pillars, right? And so we do food, we do housing, and we do youth. We also do something called neighboring, but neighboring really is woven throughout all 3 of those pillars. We looked at it previously as kind of a separate thing, but now we see that it's what we do every day when we show up to work. We want to be better neighbors. We want to help create a better neighborhood. We want to engage neighbors. We want to help you be a neighbor if you're currently not. So what I do specifically is I'm the director of homeless services. My job is to help people who are homeless, literally, or those who are precariously housed or need help to not become homeless, to get that help. So I have a staff of 15 currently. We'll be doubling that staff over the next 6 weeks. And people call or they're referred to us. We go through a screening assessment, which is always a work in process. And then we figure out what they qualify for, where they need help the most, and we try to connect those dots. We try to connect it through us with dollars or program assistance for housing, and then connect them to other community-based agencies and or organizations that help in other areas based on their social determinants or influencers of health. And I've been here since July. And our biggest claim to fame right now, other than all the great work that they've done before I got here, was that since July, the team and myself have worked on implementing and facilitating $1.75 million of assistance in rental arrearages throughout Muskegon County. So your little brother gets up every morning and comes in here, sometimes 7 days a week, and processes applications for people who need help, paying their rent because of COVID. And we, over 6 months, we were able to spend, again, 1.75 in just assistance dollars alone. That doesn't count keeping the lights on, paying Alex or myself. At the end of it, that would be 2.3 million that they worked just feverishly to get into our community. So if you're a landlord or you've worked with us in the past 6 months, thank you for your patience. We really appreciate it, because it is quite a process. I mean, I came into a staff of 6, and now we're at 15, and we get on average 25 to 30 applications a day for people who need help, which is kind of here's a big announcement if you don't know already, which has kind of spurred our next movement. So in March, Muskegon County will be receiving approximately $11.5 million to help people with rental arrearages, back to utilities, and things like that. So we're very fortunate here at Community enCompass to be able to be a part of that program and to be able to make those connections with people as quickly as we can. And we're going to partner with another community organization. So people are coming out of the woodwork. Yeah, I want to help.
Yeah. All right. I had a question, but I've got 2 great ones. They're both the same question. So we've got Laura. How does an average Laura or Jill like her help out? And a little more specific, what's the best way to get involved and help Community enCompass's mission here in Muskegon? That was on my list. I think probably the most important takeaway of tonight is how we as a community can rally behind Community enCompass and the other programs that you work on. Some of us are lucky, and it's our job to take care of those who are not.
Yeah, because one day it's going to be me. One day, Michael, you're going to need to help me. But until then, if I can help you, let me know. I always say that money is relative, And if I don't have any, chances are the person next to me does. And one day when they don't have any, chances are I will. And so it's okay. And I'm not a socialist. Let's not get crazy in the comments. Don't at me. But what I'm saying is that if you surround yourself with the right kind of people, you'll be okay. We all will. So getting involved. Number 1, destigmatize assistance. If you can talk about our programs to anyone who needs help, you start there. And then number 2 is kind of weird. Give us money. So I get a lot of money from the federal government and the state of Michigan and other partners in town, like the Community Foundation of Muskegon County, the United Way of the Lakeshore. We partner with Mercy Help Muskegon and the Health Project on a lot of things. But it is sometimes those indiscretionary funds that allow me to help people who don't qualify for our programs. So we got a private donation of about $5,000 that we are putting towards water and sewer, because we know, as being on the city commission, there's a huge, huge need for water and sewer arrearage help. So if you've got a household or a family and you need help with water and sewer, give us a call. I'm going to help you with that. And after March, when this new bucket of money comes, there will be more money for that. So that's just that kind of gap fill until then. And then if you can't give money and you want to get involved, reach out and let's figure out when COVID is done, what that looks like and how you can volunteer, or how you can come here in the office and help with, I know it sounds silly, but simple projects like making sure that everything we have is filed, or helping me design a program for Rent the Right Way, or getting on social media and sharing the fact that we are about to hire 16 positions in the next 6 weeks. So when you see it, share the hell out of it. Because they're real, and we as an organization are scrappy and grassroots and all of those things that make you feel good about the way that you help. But the reality of the picture is that we are growing exponentially day by day. And in order to serve our community better, we need to add to that team. And so while we continue to maintain that scrappy, let us help you out, get your hands dirty narrative, we've got to get to work and really help to make this as seamless as possible and be a well-oiled machine.
Absolutely. I mean, it seems like the need just continues growing and growing. I'm just trying to, unfortunately, if I don't wear my glasses, it's really hard for me to read. But if I do wear my glasses, I see my eyes and it trips me up. So I'm trying to read these comments as they come in. We'll get them up on the screen as we can. One question that I had, though, it seems like most of the volunteer opportunities that you just mentioned were regarding your program or your facet at Community enCompass. I assume that the other facets of Community enCompass are also in need. Monetarily, volunteerismly?
Yeah, we're gonna go with that.
Yeah.
My name isn't Webster. I support that word. Yeah, so we have so many different things. Like a lot of the things that you guys might recognize are that beautiful big farm on the corner of a street and Laketon. And I should know because I can see it from my front yard. It is Hoyt and Laketon. So that is the McLaughlin Grows Urban Farm, and that's a partnership that we have with Mercy Health. Beautiful, beautiful place. I've been there several times, as you can imagine. But in the summertime, when they're growing or doing things that farmers do, they're always looking for people to come out. And of course, COVID has created, those unique situations where we don't exactly know what it looks like, but we try to keep everybody safe. There's awesome partnerships there. We have something called the YEP program, the Youth Empowerment Project, where Miss Charlotte Johnson works with neighborhood kids, and they get involved in all kinds of opportunities for volunteering and work and learning and hands-on-the-job training, and really just making sure that there's someone around to help these kids that want to take the next step into whatever it is, to identify and be able to make that step. And then lastly, something that I know very little about, admittedly, is we do a lot of building and have our own sort of like opportunities for housing, but it's not something I'm involved with. We keep a hard line between the money that I have and that, because we want to make sure that there's no conflict of interest. But I know that we do things like that, and Kimi George is out there teaching kids math and how to build wood stuff through algebra, which was never my strong point. The algebra stuff, I'm finding a wood shop, Jaycees. But yeah, so there's so many great things all the time.
So this ties into Pete's question, and I had this picture already lined up. I think this was put out by the city of Muskegon. Volunteering, I think, which we've been talking about, is one of the best ways to get to know people in a community. It's how I met many of, if not most of the people that I know in Muskegon. And there are obviously opportunities through Community enCompass. Pete, I'm not entirely sure what you were heading at, but the JCI, if you weren't watching earlier, is the Jaycees, great way to get involved. Any other recommendations? I mean, you're fairly involved in the community, not just in volunteerism.
Yeah, so there are a couple different things you can do, Pete, and anybody else who's interested. So right now, like Pete mentioned, COVID has everything crazy. Eh? We got to keep people safe. The vaccine is here, and if you're lucky to start having it, good for you. But we've still got to be safe about it. So you're going to want to visit the United Way of the Lakeshore on their website. They have part of their website is called Get Connected. You can sign up there. It's kind of like a Facebook, and you can pick the things that you want to be involved with. And then when there's a volunteer opportunity, whether it's remote or on site, they'll send you a little ding, and it'll pop up, hey, so-and-so needs your help. So that's a great way to do that. But in the meantime, and as far as, cliche as it is, just be supportive and to ask what you can do. Come on, Kara. That's what, Kara Zielinski. I just totally plugged that. So you tell Dominic Bunker on the one. But it really is about just anything you see on social media, or you hear word of mouth, share, because right now that's our main plug into community, because we can't be one-on-one. And I don't know if you guys can tell this or not, but I'm a people person. I want to be in public. I want to touch you or not touch you. I want to be around you. I want to laugh at you, laugh with you. And we can't do any of that. So it's hard for us, and we just have to really make sure that any news that's available is shared with everyone. I'm about to start here too, Michael.
Oh, I think we answered Pete's question. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you, Pete.
And thank you, Liz. We have no set goal. We have no sales pitch in these. They're intended to be free form, but when something good comes out of it, I know that makes my heart happy. As my wife Alana would say, it makes my heart happy. So that's awesome. I have a question that I find very important, and so I'm going to digress for just a moment. Also because I enjoy periodic moments of comedic relief. So I searched high and low, and I probably went through about 250 pictures of Daryl the Barrel,
Jesus.
and I couldn't find you in a single one, which begs the question, are you anti-barrel? And if so, what did barrels ever do to you?
I want you to know this. This is actually a subject for me. So I
didn't know.
Gary Ridley an apology. I am supposed to be making, so I don't know if everybody knows this except for my JCI family. When the pandemic first hit, I was bored. And in order to not eat my refrigerator every day, I sewed masks. Subsequently put out a grant from the Shire. We've done about, 5,000 masks for the community, eh? Health West reached out to me and was like, hey, Michael, can you make a special mask for Daryl the Barrel? I'm like, sure I can. That was at Christmas. Daryl the Barrel is still naked and is being exposed to COVID every day. So I love Daryl, but I know that he has a strong immune system. And he's going to make it through, and I've got half a mask made for him. And yeah, no, Daryl is a great guy. Now, if you remember, Daryl caught a lot of flack because in the beginning, we cannot have fun when there are real things happening. But what people need to remember is that a little bit of levity and brevity goes a long way when you're looking at something that seems so insurmountable. Anytime that you can insert a laugh or a funny look or a shiny nose, or new really tiny round thick glasses, do that. Take the time to take a breath, and it will help you get through the next time when it seems like you can't.
Absolutely. I mean, that was, I certainly saw the flat coming towards the city from the Daryl the Barrel, and that honestly, it made me laugh harder than Daryl the Barrel because I'm sitting back going, wait a second.
Because it's a barrel?
Fun. We're having fun. It's a barrel. Nobody's losing money. Nobody's spending money. And people are happy. And isn't that what it's all about? I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that what city government's about? It's you can't always make everyone happy.
Never,
never.
You
can never make everyone happy. But at the end of the day, the goal is to do the best you can to make people happy.
For the greatest number of people. And if you can't, then you've got to educate people why. Not that my job is to tell people what's right for them, but it's to help them learn why we're looking at it from a different angle, or there's a bigger picture, or there's not just one of you because we have an entire city we're trying to help. I mean, and it's okay for us to disagree. I had someone call me and literally cuss me out Monday morning at 8:15. And I was so overwhelmed with what was happening because they were just screaming at me at the top of their lungs. And I was like, listen here, babe, you can disagree and call me wrong all day, but you cannot scream at me at 8:15 on a Monday morning. So I'm going to let you go. You can think about that and call me back. And they called back and they were like, why were you talking over me? And I was like, well, because you were hollering at me and I'm just trying to get down a cup of coffee. And they were like, oh, all right. And then we talked for an hour, and to that person, I had made an incorrect choice, and that's okay. They let me know why and how they felt about it, and I appreciate that. Because even if I cannot or do not believe or subscribe or support whatever you're talking about, I can typically make a connection and say that it's okay for us to disagree. This is why I chose what I chose. And if you don't like that, I invite you to run or to be a part of or to get involved. And not just show up behind, one of these online warrior, things. But get involved. Everybody get involved. And then you know exactly how damn hard it is. I almost said a damn word, but I did not. Because I've had 2 beers now.
I'm still on
drunk politics.
So you keep giving me these amazing segues right into questions that I wanted to ask. And I thought this one was particularly important. We didn't talk about the politics too much yet, but I know it's a hot topic here in Muskegon. I don't think people realize how lucky we are. I mean, you lived in Chicago. I lived in Chicago. We are lucky.
So lucky.
We are so lucky. That being said, for those watching from the outside, and no, I don't mean outside the city, but for those who don't necessarily know the people and know their dynamic, and I'm very lucky to know a lot of the people that work at the city and, a lot of the folks who are getting yelled at 8:15 on a Monday. But there's a big train. Sorry, I get really excited about them. Big train for those of us living downtown. You probably feel it shaking the walls in a second. ADD. For those of us watching from the outside, it can appear that the city government is fractured, divided, with regard to both the long-term goals and the ways to achieve them. So I guess I think I know the answer to this, but is that true? And if so, is there a middle ground that's being agreed on and pursued?
So that's a really good question. And I'm going to start by saying that the most important thing that I would pull out of that question statement, whatever, this conversation specifically around this topic is the people. We're all just people, right? So I'm a people who decided to spend a ton of money and spend an entire summer with my closest friends walking around 5 neighborhoods in the city of Muskegon, knocking on doors, being like, hey, you should vote for me because I'm going to try to help. But I'm still just a person, eh? So is that those are my babies. Oh my God. You'd never know a better group of people. I'm telling you. Surround yourself with people that lift you up and think the things that you think are important are important. Anyway, so we're all just people trying to not step in a pile of shit every day, doing our best to avoid it, right? And some of us are lucky enough to really be able to roll up your sleeves and get into the work. Is the city fractured at any level? No, fractured is a very strong word. Are there opportunities for better engagement and communication and to really focus on what a singular plan should be that includes many different facets moving forward? Absolutely. But that plays on both sides of the fence, eh? You have to, as city government, city staff, and city resident, be able to come together, have open and honest conversations, and not call someone at 8:15 on a Monday screaming. You can call and say, hey, I'm kind of mad at you. This is why. Let's talk about it. That's great. But don't call anybody cussing them out because you're not going to get anywhere. And that goes for each and every one of those 3 different areas. Residents can't speak to city officials that way. City officials better not speak to city staff that way, and vice versa, all the way back and forth. Show up with a full mind and a clean heart, which sounds cliche now that I say it out loud, but be ready to get to work. Be a part of the solution that you want to see. Don't just call and bitch. Don't just call and complain. Even if you don't know how to be a part of it, call and say, this is an issue, and it's above my pay grade, which is something we say all the time, but I want to be a part of it if I can help. How can I get involved? Be involved. And be open to understanding that we take one project or one situation and look at it from all the angles that we possibly can, because you never can. And even then we still mess it up 9 times out of 10, because you can never anticipate all the things that will literally fly at your face like tennis balls that you have to dodge and duck in order to make things work. But we try. And again, we're just people. I don't know if that answers the question.
It does, I think. And I think that's, again, I'm privileged because I mean, part of it, I think, is living downtown. You know, I had sippies at Terry McAllister's house before Pigeon Hill was a dream. And, you know, the next thing I knew, the neighborhood officer was a friend, and Frank Peterson I met when he came to town. And
it's terrible.
Yeah.
I love him to death.
Oh, you know, Frank and I disagree on all kinds of things.
Every day.
I love the man, but I disagree with him all the time.
Yeah.
It just like my personal relationships, you know, my wife will tell you I'm a pain in the ass all the time. And I would say that about many of the folks on the city commission. And I think they would say that about each other, but they wouldn't say it in the sense that we're not working towards a common goal.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know, everybody's working for the same thing. Yeah, they bicker here and there. Of course they do. It's, you know, if you have a family that doesn't, you're probably not human.
I agree with that. And you'll hear one of us say, especially, no, I'm not even going to qualify that. Many times when we go to vote and it's some big deal, we'll say, I don't necessarily agree with this, but I'm going to vote yes, because I believe in the other things that are coming out of people's mouths, whether it's staff, my colleagues on the dais, or the residents that want to see this work. And so even though I've got my own, just like with paid beach parking, I knew they were going to nail us to a cross for that. Turns out they didn't. I had to eat my hat. It's been great. But I said, I don't agree with this, but I'm going to say okay. And it worked out. So sometimes you get schooled, and I love to be wrong. I hate to admit it, but I love to be wrong when the outcome is better than I could have expected. And we will fight and we will bicker with one another, especially when it's on Zoom, because those things only happen when you can record it, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, we're all just trying to do what we have been told by a group of people is best. So my voice doesn't count. I'm only one vote in my entire board. Turns out I represent me, but I also represent everyone else. And so regardless of how I feel, if my community says no for a specific reason, and there's enough of them that say no or yes, that's how you have to look at the majority. Marijuana at 920 Washington for the medical grow operation. Medical grow operation. Google that. Is a big deal, eh? And people have an experience with that property and that situation for years and years and years, way before my time. But I know that another commissioner and I said, hey, if this is going to happen and we're going to approve it, this is what we want to see. We want a development agreement. We want to know that all these things that you're saying that are pretty and shiny over here are actually going to come to fruition. And heads up, 7 Up, I support marijuana. Tax the hell out of it. Buy everybody an iPad. Every student gets a book. Whatever. Treat it the way you treat booze and tobacco. I paid through the nose.
I agree. I mean,
you know,
it's hurting my business, but I agree. So.
And so I've really had to kind of come to bat for that. And when we looked at expanding outside of the green zone that happened before I was there, and when we looked at all of the restrictions that our planning commission was not attempting to, but was suggesting that we look at for the cannabis business. No, it doesn't need. We don't need to add all of these things to it. All we want to do is help people, any people who want to be a part of our economic community, be a part of it, push it forward because it pushes forward the community that we live in. And it's even a better opportunity if they already live here. If they're a part of our community and they're my neighbor and they want to do something great, let me support you. Let me figure out how. And if I don't know, show up at my door. Call me at 8:15 on a Monday and let me know.
Don't yell.
Yeah, just don't yell at me. Or at least let me know I'm going to yell so I can brace myself. And
that was a long way of saying that Michael supports marijuana and the city commission isn't fractured.
Yes.
Kara wants to know, what was your biggest challenge or obstacle while running for commissioner? Okay. I'm going to switch top. We might come back to pot. I'm not saying we won't.
No, yeah, that's fine. Turns out if I could use pot, I would, damn it. The last time I had one of those gummies, someone was like, here, take a gummy, it's fine. 4 hours later, I was laying on the carpet. Anyway.
Story of my Tuesday.
I don't know that I had any huge challenges or what is it? Opportunities? I say opportunities. Michael, what was one of your biggest challenges or obstacles? Okay. I didn't have one. That sounds pompous. But everything that I've done feels like the next step. And sometimes it feels like the next step to the point that I don't even question it. I just move into it. And then halfway through, I'm like, oh, this shouldn't have. I don't want to do this. But becoming a city commissioner was just a way for me to broaden the way that I serve. You know, we referenced earlier that I started with Mercy Health, and I started in their HIV and STD programming. And I helped to create a community outreach program and then helped to expand that. And then I created the state of Michigan's first pre-exposure prophylaxis clinic, PrEP, PREP, look it up. And so I kept on moving through these things that were natural. And then I moved to the health project to work with the community health innovation region and the social influencers of health. And so everything has just kind of been the next step where I'm opening my arms a little bit wider to be able to help more people. And when there was an opportunity to open my arms as wide as they have ever been and help my neighbors, regardless of where they come from or what they do or who they are, in any way possible, I jumped at it. And I went to my group of friends and I said, hey, so this is a stupid thing I'm going to do. What do you think? And they were like, all right, well, we're not sure how it's going to work out, but we're pulling for you. And they showed up when I needed them. And we did these things, and I'm super proud of it. And I'm super proud of the fact that we had a goal, regardless of what it was, and we met it. You know, I will never forget the election night. I had a house full of people that I love and that love me. Some of them are a bunch of fancy people, and some of them are, kids from MCC who were in a poli-sci class. And when it all came down, and another elected official who has been through this process, because I was so green, I was just like, you just tell me when I can celebrate and we can pop these bottles, eh? And because I thought I was going to be so cool. And Michael looked at me and said, all right, kiddo, we can call it. You've won. And instead of being so like, cool, I burst into tears. Because it was such an emotional experience. It was that culmination of months and months and months. Because you think about politics on like the grand scale, right? Where they matter is in your backyard. Vote. And I had been working so hard, either physically or in my head, and stressed in these things, and with Brendan Gorman, who's a dear friend of mine, and I could not have done this without him and Rachel and Stephen, of course. And it's overwhelming. So emotions were a huge opportunity, but we mitigated them and won.
Cheers to that. I mean, this is how we win. So we have two questions that tie. I mean, I actually thought you were giving your stump speech for a second there. We've got both John and Dave asked effectively the exact same question. John's is longer, so I'm just going to leave Dave's up. No offense, John. It's just easier to read for me and doesn't block out this. I did that. Have you ever thought about running for mayor? I assume the effect of a win would be the same. You would cry, which
would be the same. I would cry.
I would too.
If we're talking about the natural progression, there's two ways you can go, Dave and John. I can either go to county commission, which you see is a bigger seat, but I don't necessarily want to help more people. I want to help more people effectively. So if I was to look at becoming mayor, that would be the way that I would choose. And one day when I'm mayor, we can sit down and talk about this moment and how we discussed it, and then how I won.
And how we launched your campaign here tonight. You're welcome. Steve, don't go anywhere yet.
It's the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, all right. I'm just going to throw this up there for a second. Can we both stare and marvel? Okay.
Here's the thing. With this in Zoom, it's destroyed my life. I am a vain man. Vain. And all I do is sit here and look at me. Ask Rachel Gorman. She knows. She's like, stop looking at yourself in the mirror. I can't help it. I'm pretty.
So I shaved. I look like I'm 5 when I shave my beard off. And I can't trim my own beard. Once it gets like scraggly and long, I can't do it. I need someone to take care of it. And you couldn't go anywhere to get a beard trim. So
God.
I told Alana, I was like, I'm going to shave my beard off. I can't handle this. I look like a mountain man. And she said, no, you look like you're 5. So I had the most amazing Magnum PI mustache for about 3 weeks.
Yes.
And that's that story.
See, I've got too much neck to have a mustache. I've got to have all of this. But I do have a good chin, a good jawline, thank God, but so much neck. No.
I'm
a little drunk, I think.
I'm not judging. I'm just trying to see if there are any. We had a lot of people really excited about the train. I'm going to give a shout out to them. We have love for the mask. Emily, I agree. It seems like it's been 4:45 lately instead of 5. But I
get that train too at my house, and I mean I don't live far. I live right by Hackley Hospital. But
it takes my house.
I love but I love trains. Coming from California, though, we have trains, and so whenever I hear a train, I'm like, oh, home.
Yeah. No, it's been worse. Not worse. I mean, it's hard to call something worse when if there are more trains, it's for a good reason, right?
Yeah.
So it's been louder
at every opportunity.
Oh yeah, it has been louder in the last few months, but it will never be as loud as the L or the trains flying to O'Hare. So I'm good. Where's my thumb? There it is. I'm good with it. I love this question. I've got, just so everyone knows, we have a total of 6 weeks of Tuesdays with Michael lined up. This is week number 2. So I have 4 more guests already lined up. Next week we have Shelly, the cheese lady. And after that we have Bob Lukens. Yeah. So another Chicago escapee. But if it keeps going well, and frankly, if I can handle being here, I hate being on camera. It's kind of silly, but I do.
See, I don't.
Oh, I loathe it. It's part of the reason for the glasses. Hey, who would you like to see if we had a week 7 guest?
Well, I think that, I don't know, someone, maybe someone from, no, because you've got Bob. Maybe someone from the chamber. But anyone who has community engagement, eh? So, every single effort or office or agency has some sort of community aspect, and their job is to connect the dots, the lines, the people, the stuff, so that everybody has this sort of web of communication. So whoever kind of facilitates that for big, huge agencies, or take it the complete other direction. And in the time of COVID, you could do something very focused, like when you're looking for a job in the time of COVID, HR director from Mercy Health Muskegon, from Alcoa, or no, How Met Alcoa, How Met again, or something like that. And while the social justice warrior of me wants to turn everything into an opportunity, sometimes just to have conversation and drink a bunch of beers, it's fun. So, drunk Muskegon history.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to skip ahead. I'm trying not to make these about myself, and unfortunately I do.
No, make them about you, because I will inevitably make it about me.
So I was actually talking to Aaron and Jackie over at the museum, and this may be why I'm now on the Lakeshore Museum Center board. I'm not sure. I was talking to them about a drunk Muskegon history, where basically I got drunk and walked around downtown and talked about old stuff. Because for those who don't know, I basically in my life, it's beer, running, my wife, my dogs, and history. Like, that's all that matters. So,
is there anything else?
Not that I'm aware of, and that's why we live in old houses. We did have. All right, before I miss, some of these were pretty good. So Becky and Becky, you can meet up with Michael for a beer. I'll name that.
Yes.
I'll answer that for you.
Something else you could think about, Michael, is, do you remember, and you're too young for this, babe, but when I was a young man, there was an old guy on TV, and he was on very late at night. He had a talk show, and he would do a top 10 list. And so, because top 10 takes a lot of time, you could do a top 3 or a top 5 list with each of your guests that they could be a part of. What was that guy's name? Brennan Gorman. I know
it was Letterman, wasn't it?
Yes, David Letterman.
Yeah. I'm not that young. I mean, I am, but I'm not that young. All right, I'm just going to note that we have a lot of votes for drunk history. I thank you all, because you are making my love of craft beer into a neat hobby.
So I went to your brewer's lounge today to pick up my beer, and then also bought, this is going to seem like a shameless plug, but it's not. We have a new place in town called iMart, and I went there just to check it out. And the guy, Nick, who is their office manager, who's their facilities manager, was so great. And when I was leaving, after I bought 4 pairs of glasses, this is pair number 2, he made a joke about how he got me such a great deal. And he was like, "Oh, I like sushi and this." I said, "How do you feel about craft beer?" So I took him over a combo 6-pack that the girls at the Brewers Lounge put together for me. Got him a sticker, got him some of your Chicago corn from Sweet Temptations, and a couple of koozies. Took it over and was like, "Thanks for your help," because he lives in Grand Haven. And we can't have that. Come on home to Muskegon. And so took it over to him, and he was just over the moon about it. He was so excited.
That is fun. Well, thank you. And if anyone is still down, I know a few of you started watching downstairs. If you are still there, please tell the girls thank you for doing a great job.
I mean, obviously they're awesome.
Our team is incredible. I mean, it's we're so lucky to have had most of them with us, or a lot of them, I guess, at this point, because we've expanded with us since day one. And I mean, we had some new hires this summer just to add more people to our team.
And you have to, because
we've been so lucky.
While you're looking at how COVID and all the protocols that have been in place for our wonderful governor, and I mean that's not me being sarcastic, she's amazing, have been put in place, it requires more work. It's harder work than just coming in and giving people beer. So you've got to kind of be able to accommodate for that, and then you need the business to support that. So go to your local businesses, buy beer, get on the TV or this little tiny TV and drink it and talk about it.
Absolutely. Everyone. Tip. Not just here. I mean, wherever you go, if you are going out, tip well. I mean, there has never been a better time. I was raised by a mother who was a waitress, and I mean, that kind of ingrained in me at a very young age the importance of mom making less than minimum wage. And in this day and age, they're working harder and catching more flack and more grief, and frequently, in many instances, making less. We've been, Pigeon Hill has been lucky to be able to take care of our, I'm trying to skate around this, saying anything that we've done specifically, but we've been lucky to be in a position where we haven't gone bankrupt and have still been able to take a little better care of our team than others are even in a position to be able to.
And so, you know what? Okay, don't skate around that kind of shit stuff. Celebrate the things that we can do, and specifically you guys as a Muskegon-based business. Like, let's be proud of the help and the hugs and all of that we can provide our neighbors and the people that work with us and for us and around us, and just be proud of who we are, the shitty parts and the good parts, because everybody has both of those. Celebrate them.
Absolutely. I mean, we like to keep it close to the chest only because we consider it, we find ourselves in a good position. No, not a good position. We find ourselves to be lucky to be in the not so terrible position we're in. And we're happy to take care of our family. I'm going to knock through a couple of quick questions. I've had one. Actually, I haven't even finished one yet. Michael, I can't say that. I have to drive home yet. We are doing the Shanty thing this weekend. I'm plugging it, that boy. This is me plugging it. I don't think we're doing registration anymore. I can't say where Alana's at. She's at a fitness class that involves poles. So I'm going to get hit when she gets home. I don't think we're doing reservations. I think you can just bring your shanty. Michael, what is your favorite Pigeon Hill beer?
Grapefruit Rennie, without question. Love grapefruit. And there was a blood orange one time that Brendan and I went King Gaga over. Anything blood orange or citrus I'm in, because it tastes clean, neat, and tidy. But I'm a vodka drinker, but I don't want vodka that tastes like, water. Like, I want it to have flavor, vodka with purpose. And so I drink beer the same way, which is the only reason I like craft beer, because I would rather hit you with a bottle of Bud Light than drink it. No shame to Anheuser-Busch. There's just no point. I want something that's going to, and so I like things that have a lot of flavor. And apparently a double IPA is good to me. And when it has grapefruit in it, it's even better.
Coming back the first week of April.
We'll take it. And anything blood orange.
All right, I've got a couple of things that I'm actually personally interested in, and one because I have a really good picture I want to share. So the question is, you do a lot of things. That's not a question. That's a statement of fact. You're highly involved. As someone who is also highly involved, I know just how hard it can be to stay sane. So what are some of the things that you do to keep you sane as you're juggling all of your work? What hobbies do you have? Do you love theater?
I knew you were going to do this as soon as you said what. So yes, I love theater. There I am as Father Christmas.
That's a great picture. Honestly, one of my brewers walked in today and he goes, "Did you Photoshop that?" I was like, "No, it's just a great picture."
No. Isn't he pretty? So no, I'm an only child and I wasn't loved enough. So I love to get on stage and sing out and show out and do these things. And Liz, I've never had the Moscow Mule. In fact, I didn't know you guys had a Moscow Mule until today. And someone was like, "Oh, get the Moscow Mule because I want to bring my staff." And actually, it was Alexander. Sorry, we're going to come back to that. Yes, I love the theater. I sit on the board for the Muskegon Civic Theater. I am involved in every single production that I can be, whether it's on stage or behind stage. I support the arts in our community because it gives people a connection to what we do and how we do it that they may not have otherwise. And if you have ever wanted to be involved in something that has a mission and believes in our community, start there. Jason Bertoy is their director, and he's amazing. Eric is the director of the Frauenthal. Get involved with them. Show up, show out, be a part of it, because it's that history that we get to connect to through these organizations that keeps us relevant. And they're great places.
Art creates community. Art brings people together. I mean, even as growing up as a poor boy, I was very lucky to be exposed to art at a young age, from the theater to going to a Monet exhibit when I was in third grade. It changed my life forever, because art speaks to people through the ages. And
as a homosexual, I completely support that. I support art on every front. It's kind of part of our agenda, right?
Well, as a straight man, I'm still behind you.
Good.
Well, I didn't mean it that way.
It's okay. I won't tell.
That changed very quickly. Tell us about the new alcohol rules downtown.
Tell us about the what?
New alcohol rules down. Do you want?
Yeah. So Michael's probably better to answer. I voted yes because I trust staff. But there's a thing. You buy a drink. It has a logo on it. You walk around with it. Don't take it outside of the lines. Don't be a jerk. Don't drink and drive. If you need a ride, call someone or me. Don't yell, and maybe I'll come pick you up.
So, yeah, I mean, that's really the gist of it. The state opened up something called social districts this past year. The chamber had been looking at something called a downtown open recreation area for a while. In fact, the Muskegon Chamber of Commerce was one of the driving forces behind this legislation, which I'm extremely proud of.
That's not bullshit.
No, I was extremely lucky to be a part of a couple of early meetings where they wanted some input, but they have been pushing this for 3 years now, if not 4. And so with COVID, they saw an opportunity to, thank you, Emily. They saw an opportunity to, I guess, push their radical agenda and get alcohol in the streets because of the limited capacity and the ability to get people into safer environments, more open air environments. Are you agreeing, or are you wanting to say?
Because I'm going to say that because you mentioned how Muskegon was like a big deal behind that. So that's absolutely true. But it came to fruition in the time of COVID because we had something to kind of crutch on. Yeah. But the reason that Muskegon got behind it so wholeheartedly is because we celebrate the festival season. And we knew that in order to enhance and expand the experience that our community and its visitors was having during festival season would be to let everybody get drunk. And so we really have the opportunity to consume adult beverages. And so we got behind that 100%. So our neighbors have been pushing for this just for the the edification, which means education, but so that we could have a better time anyway. And COVID made it happen.
Yeah. So basic principle is that now I actually have a meeting about this in the morning. I think there are 8 participating retailers downtown.
Yes.
From each of those, and there could be up to 23 by next summer. That's the goal. From each of those participating retailers, you can get effectively a Go Cup, just like you would in New Orleans. And you can take your Go Cup and you can walk down the street with it until you hit a sign that says stop. And at that point, stop. Don't go any further. Yeah, it's fairly straightforward. But even this winter, I mean, I live downtown. I like to walk my dogs. My dogs like to be walked. I also like beer. It's kind of a match made in heaven. And come next summer, I see nothing but pluses. We can have an art fair where you can walk down the street with a glass of Pigeon Hill or Unruly or Rake, or, I mean, from any of the downtown retailers, get a cocktail.
And if you are a business downtown, the commission has yet to vote no on a request for participation. So get it in.
This is a great question. Laura, we've got a couple of things that are being done. Michael may know of even more. As downtown businesses, we are responsible for the security in our own space and directly in front of our space, which means we're doing the exact same things that we always do to keep minors from touching alcohol. We also have increased police/security presence on the street. Is it possible to ensure that no minor ever gets alcohol? No, not at home or in the district, but it was actually my number one concern when we originally looked at this about 4 years ago, was the possibility of minors getting intoxicants or getting booze. And so that was a big thing that we focused on early on, was making sure that we had security and watchful eyes just to watch for cups moving hands. The same as they can, I mean, frankly, I went to college, I was in a fraternity, the same as they did in the back of the Bob.
Yeah.
We're using all the tricks I knew, and we're trying to keep them out of minors' hands because it's not good for any of us. I mean, I sell drugs for a living at the end of the day, and it's not good for me if my alcohol is a drug. It's not good for me. Yeah, I'm not a pot dealer, Michael. It's not good for me if my alcohol ends up in the wrong hands.
No, and Laura, for those kids that are missed by Michael and his SWAT team of enforcers, I hide in the bushes. And when they come by, I jump out and grab their alcohol and drink it. So Laura Madison Fitzpatrick is a dear friend of mine. She and I were together at the Health Project, and I want to appreciate her for her wonderful questions and still give her a hard time.
As you should.
Yeah.
All right. I've got, I want to sneak in the trivia question because my bladder is getting close to bursting. So we might be able to fit in a few more questions, but I mean, it is what it is. So my trivia question, I don't know the answer to this. Michael, use chat, let me know, and we will keep an eye out. If Amy's watching, hopefully she'll keep an eye out too. If we miss who noted it first, we will figure it out after the fact, and I will reach out to you on Facebook. What is Michael's favorite animal? Do you have a favorite? Do you have one?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And go answer in the comments.
Yeah, 110%. And actually, I would not give it away, but I would say that it's not completely fictional. So the animal itself is real, but my favorite iteration of said animal is a stretch from reality. Okay. But it's one animal. It's a real thing.
Okay.
Oh, these are cute. Well,
I mean, I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
That's not really a real animal. But
people are just going in. People are just they're coming. Oh, there we go. People are coming hard for it. I don't blame you guys. I'm a little bit drunk. I can't stand you, Jesse. Ryan, sorry the Lamberts are on here. So it turns out I can read. And all this is over here, eh? Not under private chat.
Can you handle the feed for about a minute? I really have to go. All right, everybody. Michael's going to call it when he gets the right answer. Oh, we're going to just give you solo view. I'll be right back.
Ooh, oh no, I thought this was going to be a Zoom and then I would have like a fancy background. Speaking of fancy background, I was on a call with my board of directors, with the board of directors for Community enCompass. How many of you guys remember Walk and Roll on Apple Avenue and how their picture was just that fat little baby's face? So my background typically says Community enCompass and it's white, and I was wearing a white t-shirt. And so all you could see in the frame was my big Walk and Roll baby face. It was hilarious. I made that joke on the call and they got it. Maybe you guys are coming for it. Yes. I love this. Right, he's got the reins. I don't even know what this means. And Dave, I would literally slaughter your last name, but I also want to shotgun a beer. And I also think I remember you from an event that I threw years ago with the there was a group that and you wore red pants, and I was very jealous of your red pants. Yeah, love it. StreamYard. I don't even know what StreamYard is. So Dave, if you're there, tell me about your red pants. And who is that group that we love in West Michigan? I don't know. Zebra, walrus, griffin. Okay. Manatee. Oh, I love a manatee. And Michael Hecker, if you don't stop talking about fat animals, we're going to have an issue. I feel targeted and seen at the same time. Are y'all drinking? Okay, so seriously, get the double Rennie. The grapefruit Rennie is really good. And whenever they have the blood orange thing, Bren, whatever that is, let people know in the comments. Or whatever this is over here. I don't know. I don't understand how any of this science stuff works. I'm pretty. I'm not smart.
Woo. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I got moved.
No, it's perfect. I was just talking and reading.
So, did someone answer?
No. Now, there are many runner-up answers that if I had to choose one, I could. But there isn't the, Brent said Phoenix. But there isn't the real one yet.
Okay.
And people are going to be so mad.
It's up to you. Do we go with a runner-up or do we ask a different question? Or do we give a hint?
Runner-up.
Well, why don't we give a hint?
Okay. So the animal in question has a persona in a very popular movie that is very musical, made by a mouse. Oh no, almost done. Jackalope, shut up, Brad. I love that little man. And can we talk about your brother for a second, Michael?
Yeah, let's talk about. So, for those who don't know, Alex is my little brother. I'd love to give a shout out to Alex because he is 11 years younger than me. I've been able to watch him grow from a scrawny little runt to an incredible young man.
He's the same. He's just taller.
He's so tall. We're still watching these answers come in.
Now, he's not as tall as your other brother, who I see on the Zoom whenever he walks by. I'm like, hi, brother. I don't know that kid's name.
Danny is 6'5".
Yeah. And
I'm 5'7".
I mean, okay, you guys are trying so hard, and I appreciate it, but you're all wrong. Not the T-Rex. Oh, see, I shouldn't have done that. This is how we know. Beast. That's a good answer, but wrong. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to say who I would have chosen, who's my number one choice, and when you hear it, you're gonna be like, oh, of course it is. And then we're gonna choose the runner-up. How does that sound to you, Michael?
It works for me. I mean, it's your show. Well, it's my show.
Yeah, I mean, right. Thank you for coming. So my number one choice are the hippos from Fantasia that wear the tutus. We've got a big head and little arms. I know that that's weird, but one time there was a thing guys, Facebook was a thing that back in the day, old people used to communicate with one another. And there was one of those, see who your celebrity lookalike is. And when I put in my fucking face, it said I looked like one of the hippos from Fantasia in a pink tutu. So I shared that, and a bunch of my college friends got together and sent me a huge hippo wearing a pink tutu stuffed animal. So that's my gig. I'm a big hippo from Fantasia. So that's my gig. And but Brian said hippos but wouldn't type it. So you know this, guys. So hippos from Fantasia and pink tutus are my gig.
And this is proof that wives are not always right.
Right. And okay. And so Brady Foreman, I do know that they're real animals, but typically they don't dance to orchestrated music and wear pink tutus. Genius. But if I was going to pick a second one, I would say manatee.
Solid second choice.
Yeah, and manatees wore tutus or crowns or some sort of bangle bracelet. I would love that. Jesus Christ. Oh, Corey Cray. Oh, you guys. First of all, y'all ain't got nothing to do, huh? Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, just drink beer.
All right, I've got at least two more questions we have to get through because there's one that ends the night, and that's going to be my sign-off. If anything else awesome comes up, if anyone wants to shoot in any questions, we do still have one Rake Beer Project gift card to give away. And I have to figure out, did someone say hippos early on?
No.
Okay, then the first manatee mention gets it?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like Amy's, thank you, Amy, if that is you. You are amazing. I'll just keep saying this every week. Amy is amazing. Looks like she's handling the comments. What's that?
Who's Amy?
Amy is I don't have a picture of her queued up. Next time I'll have a picture of Amy queued up, and I don't have one in my office because that would actually be really weird. Amy has worked for us since day one. She walked into her interview wearing like this puffy rainbow vest, and the first thing that I said to everyone else was, crap, there's a hipster here. And it turns out we hired the hipster, and she has become.
That's her business, babe.
She is one of the most integral parts of our Pigeon Hill. I mean, everybody's integral, but she's my right hand here at Pigeon Hill. So she handles a lot of our sales. She keeps me in check. And when I'm afraid that what I'm writing or creating is offensive, she's my sounding board.
Is her last name Gibson?
It is. That's her.
Okay, good. So I've been stalking on Facebook Dave Bashada. So I feel like he is a chef or has run a bunch of restaurants in town that I love too.
Yes.
But he's very kind all night, and he's quite a handsome man. And now I'm going to look up Amy Gibson on Facebook because I am a stalker, and that's how Shanna is like, you know her, Michael, and I'm like, okay.
So Amy is she was Alana's right hand in the tap room, and then I stole her. And so now Amy literally just keeps me sane and also is my filter, which very much use.
See, I know all of these people, but I'm terrible at names.
It's all right. What was your name? Sorry.
You're terrible at names.
All right. So Dave, good to see you on here. I've got two more, and if any others come in, we'll answer them. But I've got two that I personally thought were important. What good things do you think are happening in Muskegon that the viewers might not be aware of?
So I actually don't have an answer for that. That's tactical. The good things that are happening are engagement. Is people are involved now on a higher level than they ever have been in the past. And I've only been here for 16 or 17 years, so I can't speak to time before that. If you are before that and you think that it's better, then I celebrate you. But right now, because of things that have been happening on a national level and the recognition of us to come together, people are engaged. Just like everybody here, when we started talking about volunteering, or when we started talking about what needs to happen for people to get help with housing, or what needs to happen for social determinants, people are engaged. They want to be involved. And that is the best part, because if you have people that are willing, there will be a way. And so if you want to get involved and you're not sure how, raise your hand, reach out, because literally, when there's like a telethon and Jerry Lee Lewis shows up, you guys aren't old enough to know what that is. And they're like, give $1 or 100. That's real. If you can make 3 phone calls from your house to connect someone with services, or if you can show up and work a 48-hour period finding homeless folks. Those are my examples, not all the examples. Be a part of that. Get involved, because there is always a place for you to showcase your talents, skills, and passions. So something that people don't realize is happening all around our beautiful city as we continue to try to make this a welcoming home for everyone is engagement.
100%. You talk a lot today, so I didn't get to inject a lot of my stories, which is probably for the best because it's Tuesdays with Michael, not Tuesday but by Michael. But when we moved to Muskegon, I'm from here, but when I dragged Alana to Muskegon,
right, you came back.
Yeah, I came back from Chicago, and I told Alana that one of the most amazing things about Muskegon is we take care of our own, and she didn't get that until we lived here. And within a week of living here, we went to a benefit for someone we didn't know, surrounded by people that didn't know the person we didn't know, or us. And they were there, A, because there was beer, and it's Muskegon, and B, because they knew that there was one of their own who needed help. And I think that sort of sentiment, it's the undercurrent for everything that is Muskegon. And then you add in this level of engagement, which you're absolutely right about. And that's what makes me so excited about what we're going to see in the next few years. I mean, it should never take a tragedy or a pandemic to bring people together. But I think in a town like this, it's only going to make us stronger.
Well, and here's the gig, is that so the pandemic didn't bring us closer together. It made us shine a light on all the good shit that everybody's already been doing and has been doing. So when I worked in a bar and I ran a bar, the reason that I got hooked up with Mercy Health and was able to go in there and talk about programming is because the demographic that I served is typically double income, no kids, do the math. And, and so we always were looking to help, because people in my community be it people of color, be it the GL. I almost messed it up myself. The LGBTQIA plus community are people who are typically marginalized and needed assistance. And I made it a point to show up every day as a person to help that community. And so that's how I got connected with what took me through my career and led me here and to being a city commissioner. And so those are real things. We've always been doing those, and now we get to shine the light on them. And here's a gig. I'm going to beat your ass in the street, but don't let nobody else talk about you. I'm an only child. I don't have brothers. I don't have sisters. But I would assume that's how brothers and sisters act, is that you're going to beat up your own sibling at home, but when you go to the schoolhouse, if somebody picks on them, then you're going to fight that person. And so to every person who lives within my county or the surrounding area, if you're a good person and not a jackass, and someone's bothering you, let me know. Yeah, I'll show up. And if you've done something wrong, I'm going to beat your ass at home, but I'll take care of it in the street with these other folks.
Yeah. I mean, that's Muskegon.
Yeah, that literally is.
Right there.
We can talk about us, not you, Grand Rapids.
We don't need them.
I mean,
we need them, but that's just me talking smack.
It's so far. It's fine to go there. It's terrible coming home. Too far of a drive.
I agree. Yeah. You know, I feel like Grand Rapids, like I do about Chicago, though. It's a great place.
We don't want to live
to
there.
Drive for a day.
An entire day, which is actually only 32 miles. But it is an entire day if you're thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so much mental anguish.
All right. Oh, let me see. Thanks, Katie.
You should, babe, because we got your back. If you've got us, we've got you. That's how family works.
This is, this is Muskegon. We take care of our own. I guess I don't have a better way to say it. We like Pigeon Hill now. And again, it's not a sales pitch. Well, of course it is, but they're paying for this computer. I'm paying for this computer, I guess. But on our branding, it says we are Muskegon. And that doesn't mean Pigeon Hill is Muskegon. That means we are Muskegon. And we got this. We take care of our own. We take care of each other.
We do. That's real.
We do. That's
a weird thing. Which is very different from either of the coasts. If so, for anyone who is a true Midwesterner and has lived and born and birthed and grew up here, if you go to any coast, and it used to be this thing about New York where people were like, don't talk to me. People everywhere except for the Midwest are like, don't talk to me. That's a thing. But now I'm an admirer and I can't help but say hi to people that I don't know and don't want to talk to. Here I am, hi and smiling, even under a damn mask. Hi.
I was in Chicago 2 weeks ago visiting my sister-in-law. And for the record, antibodies, so it was fine. But I was in Chicago visiting my sister and a sister-in-law, and Alana and I went out for a run on the 606, which is this elevated rail trail. And I kept saying hi to everyone. Like we're running and passing people. And I was like, hey. And no one would make eye contact with me.
It's real. You can't.
Finally went over a lot. I was like, I don't think they like me.
No, don't. Turns out. There's a movie.
They just don't get it.
I know. There's a movie that came out 100 years ago, and there's a scene where they talk about how this one woman is pleasant. And she says, I am pleasant. I said hi to the SOB at the Piggly Wiggly before I could help myself. And that's the thing about the Midwest, and apparently parts of the Big of the South, is that you cannot help but say hello because people smile at you. And that's why masks have got us so screwy here in the Midwest. Yeah. We want to wear them, but we can't be as friendly.
Yeah. You got to look for the wrinkles around the eyes. In my case, they go.
If you've got a good doctor, you don't have anyway.
Oh, let's see. I'm seeing a new show evolving right now called Drinks with Michael and Michael. Yeah, on that note, I do have to actually work in the morning. So I have one more question, unless anything else comes in.
30 with Kindred, which is the new marketing firm downtown, from our friend Don Kalis.
Yeah,
Kindred. Yeah. I'm meeting him tomorrow at the coffee factory, course, my girl Sarah Sass and her beautiful team. Those are my homeboys. I spend as much time there as I do in this office.
That's awesome. I haven't seen Don since before he started, about 3 weeks before he started. But I mean, this whole show evolved from a conversation I had with Sarah Powers over at Revel. And so I have much love for Revel, but I also love the fact that, we're spawning more of that. And I think there's room for multiple marketing agencies downtown.
Sarah's one of the reasons that I ran for city commission. So I've done a lot of work with her through my work at the Health Project because Revel was our marketing partner. And I said, Sarah, hey girl, hey, if I was going to run for city commission and I had to choose 3 colors, what would they be? I said, I lean towards blue and green and I need a third. And she said, gold, bitch, gold. And I said, shiny or matte? And she said, LeMay, which you can't get on a sign, turns out. You can't get gold LeMay on a yard sign, but I tried. So instead we went with yellow. And Sarah Powers is a dear friend of mine. She is sweet and kind. And if you need help, see her or see Dawn. And they're great. This is not a business plug thing, but
yeah. Well, we just plugged 2 separate businesses.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's use Muskegon marketing firms. I think that is the plug.
Yeah, the plug is looking for we have here somewhere. And if you do just a little bit of digging, because it's not your first result on a Google search, it is there. Reach out to people in this town who run business and who promote local business, and you will find what you're looking for at a better deal than you're going to get it from anywhere else, including Grand Rapids or Chicago.
Absolutely. I mean, there is not a whole lot other than, and I brought this up last week, there is not a whole lot other than Thai food that I don't have a good source for in Muskegon. Now, if anybody wants to open a Thai restaurant, let's talk.
Or
because I really need some more Thai food in my life.
If I could just come to your house and eat Thai food, I'll still pay you. Don't open a restaurant.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm fine with that. All right. If anyone else has a question, shoot it in. Okay. Otherwise, I do have to get home for dinner before Alana sees the part where I talked about her exercise class tonight.
Okay, so Michael, I have a suggestion. I would like to be able to like the comments, and by that I mean maybe you're the person. But like, how do I share? So you shared the comments that you like with me by clicking on them, right? Does it happen when I do that to you?
No.
Tell me if this is a thing.
Well, actually,
no, it's not.
It's not.
On the Dave comment.
Right, and people, we're digressing for the moment. I am seeing if
testicle experimentation.
What did you just say?
Technical experimentations.
Dear Lord. I mean, I'd like to say this is family friendly, but then I remember I sell alcohol for a living, so it's fine. Yeah, I don't think so, but I will look into it. I know what you can do is you can see them, and then you can also like them directly on Facebook. So I know Sean and Jeff Church went through and commented on them on Facebook.
Yes.
They had like a
Gotcha. Again, I'm not smart. I am pretty.
I would not disagree. You're smart and pretty.
Oh, you're kind. Tell your wife to watch out now. I think they know that I'm gay, right?
If not, they should ask some questions about their cognitive.
And I want to say that I am very proud to be an out and proud homosexual as a member of City Commission, as an elected official, as a member of society who moves this community forward every day. There is nothing wrong with who people love or what they want to do.
It didn't even occur to me that, I know you're gay, but when I was coming up with my list of guests, there was no real thought in my mind. Like,
you were like, what's it like being a homosexual?
Like, it bore no bearing whatsoever on my decisions. I was like, oh, Michael, he'll be fun.
No, because people don't think that way, but some people do.
They do.
And I tried to make the joke about the gay agenda to spur some questions that would get us engaged, horn locking, if you will, with people who, but no, all your people are good. Unfortunately,
most of Muskegon doesn't care. Or
no.
Unfortunately for you, I guess, with your gay agenda.
We work with my gay agenda of brunch and tacos.
Awesome. Jeff, I will work on getting a Hefeweizen on tap this summer.
Michael, what does that even mean? What is a Hefeweizen?
It's a German wheat beer.
German wheat beer?
Yeah.
Aren't all beers wheat?
No. We can
discuss all beers are not from Germany.
No. Although we do have our current German offering. I will throw this out.
Sausage.
Did you say sausage?
It's
You're actually highly accurate. It's Mikey's Little Wiener Beer. It is our Vienna lager, and it is named after me.
Oh.
All right. I told Alana I'd be home at 8:30. So
well, okay, we've got 4 minutes. We've got one question, kids. Make it count.
You're gonna make this drag on for like 10 minutes, and that's fine. What is your perfect day in Muskegon?
Oh, piss off.
You actually knew this one in advance. This one was on the list.
Yeah. So, perfect day. I'm going to get up. I'm going to have a cup of coffee on my porch because my house faces east to west. So on my porch, which is completely enclosed in glass, or I can open it in the summer with screens, I get to see the sunrise. So I'm getting up and I'm having a cup of coffee. And nothing but a pair of undies and these mini Tonka gray slippers, which are fleece lined, so I stay warm. Then I'm going to have a shower. It's going to be 45 minutes long, and it's going to start with scalding hot water and end with me cussing because there is no more scalding hot water. Then I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to go through about 14 different t-shirts because I hate them all. I'm going to look at a bunch of shoes because I've got about 77 pair. Not about, that's a real number. And I'm going to hate them all too. I'm going to get in the car. I'm going to go to the shoe store. Buy a new pair of shoes and put them on. Go somewhere and find some sort of light carbohydrate snack because I'm so thin. Then I'm going to go downtown to Western Avenue and try to find a beer. I'm going to find several beers and a couple cocktails. Then I'm going to find a pizza and eat the entire pizza by myself and punch anyone in the face who comes near it because I love carbohydrates, even though they are the devil. I'm going to continue to drink. At some point, I'm going to take a nap. Someone's going to need to rub my belly. Wake up, brush my teeth, take a shower, and go out drinking again until Brendan Gorman has to come and pick me up and drive my ass home because I'm too drunk to walk. That's going to include Red Dad's, Dr. Wolf's. I may or may not have a waffle with butter on it, a cornbread waffle with butter on it. I'm going to travel down to Walker's, the Foundation, have a couple cocktails, maybe a coffee. I'm going to try to get as far as 18th Amendment, but I may lay down between Unruly and 18th on those steps at the Century Club. I may sit down and just kind of, because I've been drinking all day. And then Brendan's going to pick me up and take me home. He's going to rub my belly till I fall asleep. And then the next morning, I'm going to get up and come to work and save the world. And I'm going to wear a light sweater because if I get warm, I can take it off. So I've had now effectively 4 beers that are, what are they, 127 proof, Michael?
9.4%.
Same. So this is the new scheme of the show. Start with 1 beer and drink consecutively, one after the other, through the entire show and see how you can function as a grown-ass adult by the end of it at 8:29 p.m. And you tell Alana that the reason we're late is because of you. I was done at 8:29.
Okay.
I'm terrible. I am terrible. But all I want is for people to laugh and have fun and realize everything, Michael, is shitty. Everything is shitty. But if you find levity and brevity and find the people who mean something to you and that you mean something to, and you love and you laugh and you eat and you drink and you do all the things that you're not supposed to do, that tomorrow's going to be okay.
That's the whole point, right?
but it's going to be
true. That is what makes 2020 not just. I mean, 2020 sucked, but we got through, and we got through. And frankly, I didn't have a bad. I mean, on a professional level, my year sucked. On a personal level, I miss my family. But I walked away from it okay because I had fun and I laughed every chance I got.
Yeah.
I refuse not to have fun. I refuse not to laugh because that's who we should be.
Yeah, I agree. Or at least try real hard. And if you can't hit the mark, that's okay too. We'll try again tomorrow.
Preach. That's how we get through. All right, sir. I am officially. Oh,
Are you getting text? Is she cussing at you?
Just got my first. No. Preheating the oven is a fire hazard. What did I do? Now I'm going to get hit for that too. I wonder if she's actually watching. Oh, I forgot to warn her that yesterday's shepherd pie dripped on the bottom of the oven.
You realize that could start a fire, right?
Yeah, I just got that notice.
This poor woman.
She's a saint.
Yeah, clearly.
Okay. On that note, thank you, sir. Seriously.
No, thank you, and thank everybody and all the kind words. And I want to thank you guys for not coming for blood because you literally could have. We could have cussed this out. It could be on a Monday.
I was not sure where this was going to go, and seriously, thank you. I think so. Someone asked who guest number 7 should be, and as of right now, I feel like I'm looking at him on my computer screen. If you'll have me.
I mean, I'm so pretty.
So
let's do drunk history. I know shit about history.
I know.
We got to invite somebody, or I can interview you.
Done.
Brandon, I need you to write me questions. I'm going to interview Michael.
This is happening.
You heard
it here and tonight, everyone. Muskegon Drunk History is officially back on. And your stars are currently on the screen. I will be significantly drunker for that than I am right now. And we'll make it happen. All right. I seriously have to sign off because my wife is texting me that I'm burning.
Thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure. If you need anything, Michael at enCompass, all lowercase.org. And then him at the Pigeon Hill. Go to the brewer's place because Western Avenue is closed. But get there, be kind, and tip.
Thank you, sir. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining. As I said, I really have to get home because apparently the oven is smoking and not pot, unfortunately. Thanks. We will see you next Tuesday, or at least I will, for Tuesdays with Michael, featuring our next special guest, Shelly Lewis, the cheese lady. And I want to throw out a huge thanks to everyone that came out and joined us tonight, and to Michael. I did not expect this to run for an hour and a half. I just keep scheduling these for an hour. And tonight probably should have gone for about 3 hours. So we will make that up with either another of these episodes with Michael or with hopefully a drunk history episode. Thank you all. We'll see you soon. Cheers.